So that's the technical definition. I actually made a list of certain manifestations, the symptomatic manifestations that we see commonly in the menopausal transition. Now, before that, that menopausal transition can last from about 3 years to, in some cases, also up to 10 years. Okay, so the rockiness can exist for up to 10 years. Now, this is not to scare you or anything like that, but there are certain ethnicities that are more prone to prolonged effects of the transition. Now, yet on an average, we should sort of think about it as a ballpark between 3 to 5 years. Okay? So when I prepared the talk, I realized that it's a good long enough duration for us to work on and support each other for, because it's not something that goes away in 3 to 6 months. So we can support on the other side, and I think the community help makes a big difference. Okay. Now, not all of us are going to experience these symptoms. There are some people who are more prone to experience them, and they tend to be more of the people with more of the vata and the pitta imbalances. Okay. Now, why do I say that? Is that most of these shorter term manifestations of the transition, many of them are the vata symptoms. And the second frequent are the pitta symptoms. So vata symptoms are, vaginal dryness, atrophy, nearly 50%, mood swings, memory loss, some joint or back ache. There can be palpitations. There'll be reduced interest in sex, urinary frequency and leaking. I'll come to fatigue later. With Vata Pitta, there are, hot flashes. Everyone's heard of them, and we'll talk more about those in detail. But they are more Vata Pitta in nature. They're more Pitta than Vata, and apparently they impact 60 to 80% of the women. So they will experience some amount of it while you undergo the transition. Okay? Then you also have insomnia, anxiety, chills and night sweats, which are an extension of hot flashes. Then there's hair fall also, which is a Vata Pitta feature. You also have kapha, where you have increased weight gain, slower metabolism. There can be some elements of depression, and about 20 to 30% of the women experience some amount of it. And there can be increase in lipids. Your lipid profile will change because estrogen has an impact on that. And then fatigue. Okay, fatigue, I write it as it could be a vata fatigue, or it could be a vata pitta fatigue, or it can be a kapha fatigue. Now, the point of this slide is not to really get you teaching you Ayurveda, but for you to get a sense of what can be the association of the imbalance with certain manifestations. And then you can use some of the corrective therapies, which are a lot of people write about, and you can identify which would work for you. And that should be your first round of self-care that you can begin to do. Because if you don't have this laid out, there's a lot of confusion on where to go and what to do. So I'm hoping that this will become an initial strategy guide. So what are Ayurveda's goals for menopause? What can Ayurveda do? So we can definitely help to reduce most of these symptoms. We as in Ayurveda. And when we say we in Ayurveda, it doesn't just mean the Vaidya or the physician, but it's you and it's us and it's all the tools of Ayurveda that exist. So you can reduce symptoms. We can reduce the Vata Pitta nature. Most of it, because it is Vata Pitta, so we reduce the Vata Pitta nature of through our foods, lifestyle, and also, if needed, herbs and formulations. But you begin with eating foods that are not very sharp, pungent, and not very hot, and things like garlic and all. They will really rock. They create more sensitivity uh, in a system that is more primed to it. Okay, so you want to try and avoid all of those kind of foods, and you want to take more of the cooling or warm, but grounding uh, meals, which are well prepared. So that really allows to reduce the physical noise of menopause and allows you to go through the day by making the right decisions. Okay. Then identify individual risks and health priorities. So, some people, they have hyperlipidemia can be an issue. For some people, weight gain can be an issue. For some people, I worry that, their bones, we need to take care of a little bit more. And they need to focus and do something 3 times in a week for their bone health, right? So all of those kind of risks we need to identify. Some people have risks in their social support system, or in the family, or in financially even, right? So all of those need to be subverted well. Supporting sleep is extremely crucial, and we'll talk more about that. Supporting digestion and nutrient intake so that you are not making